Sasha Banks' chants were muted during WWE Survivor Series. So according to Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer, during the Shotzi and Ronda Rousey match, the Boston crowd was actually muted as they chanted, "We want Sasha." This is interesting. It's interesting that fans, they're not going to let this go, Triple H. They're not going to let this one die. This is the type of thing that starts to snowball and get worse. If it gets out of hand and the fans start to catch on that you're muting crowd chants, they're going to speak up even more. They're going to chant even more. And muting chants, that's a horrible idea. That could catch fire. That could catch fire like the CM Punk chants did for a while. How much leverage does this give Sasha Banks in negotiations? Because the rumor is right now, guys, that Sasha is discussing money now with WWE. That the holdup in her return is that there's contract issues between the amount of money she deserves, and maybe she feels like she's worth more. And it's shit like this that makes somebody go, I am worth more. If the crowd's still chanting for me, when you have Ronda Rousey out there, who's the horse that you've put your wagon on as far as SmackDown goes, that's interesting going into negotiations, because Sasha Banks is one of those polarizing wrestling figures, right? She has a large group of people who actually hate her, but then she actually has this huge cult following that just loves her, man. Like, they just love her. Things might have just gotten a little bit messy as far as negotiations go between WWE and Sasha Banks. And you have to, when you do this, you have to look at the other side of this with AEW starting to get a little bit of a buzz. There's a little bit of buzz in the women's division, right? You got Saraya making news. You got Britt Baker doing her thing. You got Jade Cargill. You got Jamie Hayter. Like, there's starting to be a little bit Toni Storm. There's starting to be a little bit of buzz in the AEW women's division. So keeping Sasha could prove to be just as much about keeping her away from AEW than it is from actually adding another star back to the WWE roster. On paper, if you're just looking at paper, the WWE women's roster looks so good. But shitty booking, man. It has devalued some of WWE's biggest assets. Look at Alexa Bliss. She has been devalued. Look at Asuka, devalued. Look at Damage Control, devalued. Nobody really came out of that women's War Games match with just heavy momentum. It was a clusterfuck of a match, and nobody came out looking like the next big star in WWE. I would pay attention. Let's see if Triple H is really all about booking for the fans and bringing and giving the fans what they want. Or was that just a ploy early on to get admiration when he was transitioning the creative power to himself? I haven't seen a ton of fan service since, especially casual fan service, since Clash at the Castle. It's been more about appeasing the IWC. And with crowds that have been like weirdly silent, for them to then go to Boston and have the crowd speak up and say, we want Sasha back, and for you to mute that and try to pretend like that's not happening, I think I would have sat down today, Monday, and just hashed it out with Sasha and said, we got to get you back on television either tonight or Friday, one way or the other. Like, you need to be back on TV ASAP.